All right, so today we are going to focus on kinetic energy, building potential energy and a little bit of kinetic energy. And we are going to do that using a glass jar and some cheap Christmas tree beads. All right, they are a single strand of beads. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the difference between the potential and the kinetic energy. And wait a minute. The difference between the kinetic and potential energy, and what I will do is I will pull the strand of beads and it will take a certain amount of time for the beads to kind of come out of the jar. Now, building the potential energy is really easy. If I put the jar low to the ground, I build a certain amount of potential energy. If I increase the height of the jar, I'm going to build more potential energy, and if you get more potential energy, oh, my voice echoed. If you get more potential energy, you get more kinetic energy. So the taller I make the jar, the more kinetic energy I'm going to have, which means the faster the beads are going to flow out of the jar. So I'm just going to show you a baseline, and I'll get Drew in just a minute to help me time it, but I'm just going to show you what it looks like to pull the beads out of the jar. So this is just low, and then I'm just going to pull it and show you. All right, somebody's been messing with my beads. All right, I'm going to give you a little bit of user-friendly advice. If you are doing this experiment at home or in your classroom, how you load the beads back into the jar is essential. You can't just pick up the pile of beads and put them back in the jar. You have to actually feed them back in so that they will come out the way that you put them back in. Okay, so Drew's with me right now, and he's going to help me time how long it takes the beads to get out of the jar. Remember, by building potential energy, you're going to get more kinetic energy. So if I hold the jar low, I'm going to get a low amount of potential energy, which is going to yield a low amount of kinetic energy. If I hold the jar higher, I'm building up the potential energy, which is going to build up the kinetic energy. It's going to be more, it's going to be faster. So to prove that, we are going to have Drew help us time it. So you got your timer on?
Yep.
Okay, I'll tell you start and I will tell you stop. Don't look, you just focus on the phone and just listen for me to say start and stop, okay? And also, what's really cool is if you'll look right here as the beads come out the jar, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a change there. All right, Drew, ready? Oh, dang it. Oh no. Stupid cat. All right, here we go. Ready? And start. Stop. Okay, show the screen. 5.3. Okay, so when we held the jar at lower to the ground, the time that it took for from when the first bead came out of the jar to the last was 5.3 seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up and I'm going to increase the height of the jar, and Drew is going to time it, and we're going to see if by building the potential energy, how much that's going to affect the kinetic energy, okay? All right, so I'm going to stand up. All right, Drew, remember, focus on the timer. All right, ready, and go. Stop. Woo! All right, show the screen. 4.3. 4.3 seconds. So the more potential energy you build, the more kinetic energy you're going to have, which means it's going to go faster. Thanks for pausing for a moment of science. Be sure to like and subscribe. Yay!